Oh hey there guys, I'm here with yet another prediction game video for SummerSlam. This time it's Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler. My prediction, my in-depth, in-detail prediction. I've stated in the official prediction game video that I think Chris Jericho is going to win this match, and I did tell you guys that I would go into more detail in this actual video, which I will. But before I get into that, how many of you think this match is going to steal the show? This match is going to be the match of the night, because I know a lot of people are looking forward to this match just because of the potential. You know, you've got Dolph Ziggler and you've got Chris Jericho. It's, you know, not only is this a first time ever, you know, Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler, it's never happened before, but it's Jericho and Dolph Ziggler, two guys that put on some great matches. It's hard to find, you know, a bad match with these two guys. So, personally, you know, I think this match or the Brock Lesnar vs. Triple H match could be the match of the night. So in the comment section, tell me which match you're most looking forward to. Which match do you think is going to steal the show at SummerSlam? Anyways, let's start this thing. I'm going to go over both superstars and just talk about both guys and tell you what I can see happening this Sunday at SummerSlam. So, you know, it's no secret that Jericho, you know, is about to leave soon. It was announced a while back, but actually, a while back, we thought maybe Jericho was leaving, you know, in July or beginning of August, so maybe before SummerSlam, but it actually stayed a bit longer than expected, and in between that time, he, you know, got suspended, came back, and, yeah, apparently SummerSlam, or actually the Raw after SummerSlam, might be his last date, his last, you know, match or appearance for a while, for a short while. Again, I don't know for how long. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully it's less than a year, but I don't know. You know, but whenever Jericho's on TV, you know, I look forward to it. So the least amount of time Jericho, you know, is out, the better, in my opinion. So we can continue this feud with Dolph Ziggler once he comes back, whether he loses or, you know, wins the match. And this current, you know, Chris Jericho, since returning, obviously hasn't been doing too well in big matches, more specifically pay-per-view matches. On TV hasn't been, you know, it hasn't been too bad. He's actually been winning matches. Well, actually not recently, but before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and before WrestleMania, it wasn't doing too bad. Actually, before WrestleMania, he did pin CM Punk. He beat Kofi a couple times. And before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, he had a match against John Cena, which he was about to win actually, until Big Show came out and stuck his nose in Jericho's business and got him disqualified in the matchup. And recently in his TV matches, he's been starting to lose there too. I mean, just recently on Raw, well, this past Raw, you had, you know, that three-way match between Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, and Chris Jericho, which Chris Jericho lost. He was actually the guy to get pinned in that matchup. But what counts the most, at least in my opinion, are the pay-per-view matches, which he's won none of. It all started at the Royal Rumble, which a lot of people, including myself, thought Jericho was winning. You know, pretty much everything indicated that Jericho was going to win the Royal Rumble. He ended up being, you know, in that last two, him and Sheamus. You know, there was some, I did think Sheamus did have a chance and he could win the Rumble, but Jericho was definitely my #1 pick. I was thinking he was going to win the Rumble, but he ends up losing the Rumble and Sheamus wins that match. And to this day, I'm still disappointed about that. I mean, it's not so much that I'm disappointed with Sheamus winning the Rumble, I was just disappointed that Jericho did not win the Rumble, because Jericho has pretty much done it all. Apart from winning the Rumble, winning the United States Championship, and winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. So I can definitely see Jericho winning the United States Championship, maybe down the line, maybe his next return, or the one after that, or the one after that. I don't know how many returns he's going to be doing, but as far as him winning the Rumble, I'm not sure if he's going to have any more chances at winning the Royal Rumble after that 2012 Royal Rumble match, which I think was his biggest chance, biggest shot at actually winning that match. But anyways, that's in the past, can't change that. Hopefully, in the future, Jericho does win the Royal Rumble match and goes on to WrestleMania to win the championship. So, he started losing at the Rumble. And then you had the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. CM Punk defending his title in an Elimination Chamber match, which Jericho was involved in. And just like the Rumble, a lot of people thought, hey, Jericho's going to win this time. He's going to win the championship, take it off CM Punk, so then CM Punk could invoke his rematch clause at WrestleMania. Makes sense. That's what's going to happen. Well, that's, what a lot of people thought was going to happen. But instead, Jericho lost that too. Or, some could call it, some could say, it wasn't a loss because Jericho was knocked out and taken out of the match and he didn't actually get pinned or, didn't tap out or anything like that. But bottom line, he didn't win the match. He didn't win the championship. So it was another failed attempt at a returning Jericho. And then you had WrestleMania. So, after the Elimination Chamber, even though he didn't win that match, he managed to become the #1 contender by winning, I think, a Battle Royale. So then he has this match against CM Punk for the championship. But the thing is, throughout most of the feud, throughout most of their, storyline, Jericho was, dominating CM Punk, saying he was going to make him drink after, he makes CM Punk lose at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. So Jericho had the momentum leading up to the pay-per-view. And because of that, this time, not a lot of people were expecting Jericho to come out victorious at WrestleMania. So, in that occasion, at WrestleMania, a Jericho loss there was expected, kind of, well, by, a lot of people. So, that wasn't too bad. So, he loses at WrestleMania. And then you've got Extreme Rules. It's a rematch. Once again, it's CM Punk versus Jericho. But once again, Jericho dominates most of the build-up to Extreme Rules. He keeps on, having the advantage in the feud, talking about how he's going to make CM Punk drink. This time, though, he talks about CM Punk's family, talks about his sister, blah, blah, blah. So once again, Jericho has the advantage going into the pay-per-view. And this time around, the people were predicting Jericho and some people were predicting CM Punk. So it wasn't as one-sided, I guess, as WrestleMania. But once again, Jericho came up short at the pay-per-view, despite a good match though. But yeah, he came up short, so he lost yet another pay-per-view. And then his program with CM Punk is over. And for a short time, I think we didn't know who Jericho was going to face next at the next pay-per-view, which was Over the Limit, because pretty much every match was booked, I think. You had Sheamus though versus Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. And after a tag team match on Raw, they decided to add Randy and Jericho to that matchup. So Chris Jericho, who just came out of a WWE Championship feud and a WWE Championship match at the last pay-per-view, just got put in to the World Heavyweight Championship match, the pay-per-view right after. So he basically switched spots with Daniel Bryan, who instead got a WWE Championship match against CM Punk that night. So yeah, he has the Fatal 4-Way at Over the Limit, and actually during that time, there was a lot of talk of Jericho leaving. Actually on WWE.com, they posted up an article talking about rumors about Jericho leaving and what's he gonna do at Over the Limit, is it his last shot, and they were actually at that time talking about his losing streak. And Jericho, once again at Over the Limit, lost the match, and he was actually the one to get pinned in that match. Although I gotta say that was a great Fatal 4-Way match, really enjoyed that match. And then afterwards, after that pay-per-view, it looked like Jericho was gonna start a program with Randy Orton and he was gonna have a one-on-one match with him at No Way Out. But then what happened next is Jericho got suspended, and then it seemed like they were gonna do Randy versus Dolph Ziggler instead of, the original plan, which was Randy versus Jericho, but Randy also gets suspended. So Jericho does not end up having a match at No Way Out. So if Jericho was going to lose at No Way Out and keep on with the losing streak, or if he was going to actually beat Randy Orton and break that losing streak. So after No Way Out, the suspension is over, Jericho comes back in time for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and he announces that he's going to participate in the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match, which involves John Cena, Big Show, and I guess The Miz, and who else? I forgot. Oh yeah, Kane. But what ends up happening is John Cena wins the match, which was pretty much expected. So it's another loss for Jericho, and now we're at SummerSlam, and right now they're really, talking about Jericho's losing streak, saying he can't win the big one, Jericho is not the same Jericho he was before. He's lost his touch, blah blah blah. And in the whole process of Dolph Ziggler talking trash about Jericho, Jericho turns face, you know, at the beginning of the feud. And now the rumors of him leaving are stronger than ever. Actually, they're not rumors anymore. Jericho himself has said that he's gonna leave. So it all comes down to SummerSlam. And I see two scenarios happening here. I could see, you know, the obvious one, Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho. Dolph Ziggler wins the match after, you know, an awesome matchup. And, you know, just Chris Jericho puts over Dolph Ziggler. And then I guess he gets disappointed in himself and says he's gonna take a break to reinvent himself or something like that. But the problem with this scenario is that he's already, I guess, reinvented himself or brought back Y2J. So what else can he do to, you know, I guess, win the big one again or something like that? And then you've got scenario number 2, which is the one I think is going to happen, and that's Jericho wins the match, but after the match, or maybe on Raw the next night, Dolph Ziggler takes Jericho out so Jericho can take his time off, and then when he comes back, Dolph Ziggler would be the World Heavyweight Champion because he would have cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Jericho challenges Dolph for the title, takes the championship off Dolph, and thus gets his revenge against Dolph Ziggler, and that's what I think is going to happen. We've seen it in the past, you know, when RVD was about to leave and he was facing Randy Orton. He won his last match, but Randy took him out afterwards with the punt. So that's it for my detailed prediction. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm out. See ya.